What is going on, Cavs fandom? It is your boy Joey Schneider here from Believeland Media, along with my partner in crime, Brandon Lewis, on the best Cavs podcast in the world, ATC All Things Cavaliers. And we are talking just that, all things Cavs. Brandon, how are you doing, buddy?
I am good, and I wanted to let all of our All Things Cowboys fandom know that this is episode number 64 of the All Things Cleveland Cowboys podcast, and for the last 63 episodes, I have begun the intro. But today, Joey wanted to throw a curveball at me, and he wanted to start things off. So, of course, out of the graciousness of my heart, I cannot hog the spotlight to start every single episode. So,
This
Joey,
actually this actually is not my first. You were gone 1 week and I came in
that
hot.
is true. That is true. That is true. But Joey, thank you. I like it. I'm not used to being second.
No.
In as a as the second speaker on today's podcast. But man, do we have a lot to talk about today, especially because Joey, last week we talked a lot about trades, but there is a trade, there is a rumor out there that we didn't even really address last week.
Well, it wasn't around last week.
Right.
It really just came to the forefront today. A lot of people have been talking about it. We want to talk about it amongst other things. And Brandon, what is that deal?
So this deal would be a three-team deal between the Cavs, the Atlanta Hawks, and our old friends, the Utah Jazz. And the deal would inquire the Cavs giving away Karis LeVert. In exchange, Atlanta would give away John Collins back to Utah. Karis LeVert would go to Atlanta, and then Utah would give the Cavaliers Malik Beasley. And Joey, what are your thoughts on this trade? Because I gotta say, when I first heard it, my first thought from a Cavs perspective was, to be honest with you, I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense.
So there's a lot to kind of dissect with this deal. And I think that's really one of the things that you have to dive into the players, you have to dive into the deals. Utah would be taking on a big contract from John Collins, but John Collins is a very good player. I believe the Utah Jazz would also have to give up Jared Vanderbilt.
Okay.
I believe he would be going to um I believe he'd be going to Atlanta, although I would love to land Jared Vanderbilt. If we could get Vanderbilt and Beasley, oh my God, I would love that. Because we need another big man. We have talked so much. We need another big man. If we can get Beasley and
Oh,
Vanderbilt,
yeah.
that would make more sense. But I just want to break down. I'm not going to talk about John Collins, although I really like him as a player. I think he would be really good next to Laurie in Utah. Um, and for the Hawks, you're getting a 1 year rental with LeVert, but then you're clearing up cap space at the end of the
Absolutely.
year. And I think that's something that they really want. For the Cavs, though, you're giving up Karis LeVert, who has been a big piece to this team thus far. He's very inconsistent at times, and other times he's just, he's right around the same points, the same assists, the same rebounds. Malik Beasley, a very similar type player. However, he shoots the three a lot more. He is more of a traditional 3 and D. Karis LeVert works very hard to be a good defender, whereas for Malik Beasley, it's much more natural. You'll see Beasley come in with a lot of blocks from, he blocks centers, but he does it from behind. He's much more fluid on defense. As far as 3-point shooting goes, he's kind of, he's shooting 36% right now, which is right around the same average as Karis LeVert. But he definitely is not shy about firing up the three. A couple of years ago, he was shooting 42% from three. He's already hit 143s this season, which would put him and I think Mitchell would be the two players on the Cavs with the most threes. So that so statistically they're not that different. Beasley is the sixth man off the bench for the Jazz. He's averaging roughly 14 points per game. I want to say around four rebounds, 3 assists. He's almost right there with Karis LeVert. Then you start getting into other metrics. He is a better free throw shooter as well. He shoots
Yes,
around
that
86% free throw, whereas LeVert's around 76. Um, but you go to age, 26 years old for Malik Beasley, 29 years old for Karis LeVert. One of the intriguing parts about this deal, however, is that Beasley would still be under control for next season.
technically, though, the Cavs would have to pick him up because it's a team option.
It is a team option, but it's even the team option is still cheaper than Karis LeVert now.
That's a good point, but it's not by much. I mean, it may be a couple
Yeah,
million or two.
yeah, but with you're you're either going to give. I don't know what you're going to be able to get for LeVert realistically. Getting a player who is similar, because I'm going to say that they are extremely similar,
They are extremely similar.
but LeVert might get a bag somewhere. I don't know if he's going to
Okay.
be, I don't think he's going to get the 18 million that he's getting now from someone, but he is going, I mean, he's going to get probably, I'd say 14, 15 million, which is roughly the same as Beasley's getting now. So then that's when you have to ask yourself, we could bring in a similar type player. And the other difference is I believe LeVert is 6'5", 6'6", and
LeVert
but
6'6" and
Beasley is
Beasley
6'4".
6'4".
He's 6'4", 6'5", depending on what scale they're using. Um, so you're not talking. I mean, but that's one of the Cavs' problems all year is they don't have that traditional wing who can guard other wings. Beasley. You could have Garland, you could have Mitchell, you could have Beasley in a lineup, but you're. I mean, even with Mobley and Allen out there, you're still playing small ball.
Yep.
Who's going to guard Jason Tatum? Who's going to guard Giannis? I mean, obviously you would have Mobley on Giannis, but is this a trade that this is definitely a trade I would explore because me and you have talked about this, especially when we have been previewing Utah games when we've been playing the Jazz. And what is the one thing I say every single time we play the Jazz? You got to watch out for Malik Beasley.
Yes.
I like Malik Beasley's game. And the reason is because he's very consistent. But like I said, his skill sets are just they're different. They're even though they're similar players, there's slight differences. Beasley more naturally gifted on defense. LeVert better at creating his own shot. Beasley better better at catch and shoot threes. So it's just what do you value at that point? Are the Cavs looking for someone who's better at catch and shoot threes? Are the Cavs looking for someone who maybe is a little bit more naturally gifted on D? Are you looking for, or do you roll with LeVert, who like I said, better ball handler as well? LeVert's a better ball handler, so very interesting trade. Very similar players, slight differences in their game. And it's just a matter of, is this something the Cavs are willing to pull a trigger on? I don't know if there's an expiration date on the deal, or is there something you want to look for, later on down the road, closer to the trade deadline?
I thought that was one of the best jobs, and I'm not capping here. I thought you just did a really good job explaining from a Cavs perspective why you would make that deal. From my perspective here, again, and I almost concur with pretty much everything you've said. I am not a big believer in trading just to trade. I think these two guys are very similar players. And so that's why the argument you would make for the trade is Beasley is essentially 2 years younger, and we get an extra year of him.
Well,
But
3 years younger.
yeah,
But I do want to point this out real quick before you keep going. I'm not saying I would make the deal. I'm just saying why the Cavs would explore this.
yes. Um, For me, though, it's like again, does the move make that much of a difference? To me, it doesn't. I think regardless of who is in that spot, I mean, I was just taking a look at some of the box scores. Levert recently off the bench has played, 30 plus minutes a night. He has been playing a lot of minutes, and he seems to be the only consistent player the Cavs have off the bench. And JV Bickerstaff in this coaching unit doesn't even use the bench hardly really to begin with. Our starters are still playing a lot of minutes. So for me, when I think of a trade, I'm always thinking of, okay, obviously, how can I make my team better? And I don't know if just a Beasley for Levert swap essentially makes you say, okay, we are so much better that we can go in and win a playoff series or and make that much of a difference on a team. Because I think essentially, yes, Beasley is a better free throw shooter. Historically, he is a teeny bit better than Levert at at the 3 point shot, but it's not a needle mover for me. And I think that you could certainly explore other packages that, again, if you don't get the deal done and you feel strongly that you're not going to be able to get Levert back, then maybe you do this deal. But this is not a deal that I go, absolutely, I want the Cavs to make. And I think we both agree on that.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I do want to point out that I don't know if it was last year or the year prior, but very recently in the last year or two, Beasley did shoot 42% from
Yep.
three. So he obviously has that in him. And we saw Donovan Mitchell, who was not, only shot 36% last year,
Yep.
come in, and it seems like when he's not dog tired, he hits, his 3-point percentage is through the roof. His assist is through the roof.
Yep.
And that's the one thing about Beasley, one more thing. And I'm not trying to sell people on Beasley. Beasley moves a lot without the ball.
And that's
Beasley
one thing, by the
finds.
way. But here's my question about that. He does move a lot without the ball as a player, but the Cavs, as a offensive scheme, do not move without the ball a lot. Whether that's player fit, scheme wise, that I have been saying it for the last week or two on the podcast. I think Garland should be moving a lot more without the ball, because he is that type of player. Mitchell too, when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. So I agree in that fact, but the Cavs are not. Their offense to me is not built around that. Their offense is more based on, hey, we're gonna have a wing in the corner because our two guards are such great drivers, and we have such two big men that essential, whoever that third guard or wing is on the court, is not moving without the ball. He's more standing in the corner waiting for a wide open three and hoping that you can knock it down.
That's true, but I do want another counterpoint to that is with Rubio coming back and his court vision, and and how many times do we see Kevin Love looking for someone to cut?
Yes.
So we have facilitators on this team who are looking for that person who's going to cut to the rim that they can pass to get the easy bucket. Beasley is better at that than Levert. Beasley also is he is definitely more athletic than Karis LeVert.
He is.
He really can get up there. So again, it's just they're very small differences. If I'm looking at this trade and it's like gun to my head right now, it would be very tough. And by the slimmest of margins, I would not trade LeVert. And the only reason that I wouldn't is because he has chemistry with the team now.
Yes.
But it would be very hard to pass up knowing that we will have Beasley next year. And that is a very important thing to think about going forward. I really like Malik Beasley's game. I wanted the Cavs to try and go after him in the offseason. If they didn't make anything, he went to the Jazz. But Brandon, that's the big rumor right now. I'm sure we'll be talking about rumors all through the next few episodes up until the trade deadline. I do want to talk about some not so positive news. Obviously the Cavs made well one positive, one negative. The Cavs made a great comeback against the Portland Trail Blazers, down the entire game. And I will what you know what I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it, Brandon. I have an apology that I have to make. I have an
Ooh,
apology.
okay.
I have to apologize to Isaac Okoro. Last episode, not even a couple of days ago, because we're recording a little early.
We are
Uh,
recording on a Monday.
we're recording on a Monday because we have a lot going on during the week. I said I never want to see Isaac Okoro take a three in winning time again. And what did he do against the Blazers? He took a three in winning time to tie up the game and absolutely drilled it. And he had a heck of a game. He's really been playing some good minutes coming off the bench. I think he even started one of those games.
He did. The weird thing about it is he's starting, but Levert is playing the starter minutes coming off the bench. Okoro's only
Well,
playing between 15 and 20. Levert's playing the 30 minutes.
there's a lot of teams that are players like that. Like look at Beasley. Beasley
Yes.
coming off the bench, but he's playing 26 to 28 minutes a
Yeah.
game. But I said, do not shoot that three. What did he do? He's like, you know what? I'm going to prove Joey wrong. And he shot that three and he absolutely drilled it. And the Cavs didn't look back and they took the win in Portland. However, Brandon, the one thing that we need to talk about today, we need to address the elephant in the room, guys. We need to address this, Cavaliers and Cavaliers fans. They have got to start stringing wins together. If you win one game, that's a win. If you win two games, you know what it's called? A winning
A
streak.
streak.
And for they go into they play the Jazz. No, I'm sorry, they play the
The
Timberwolves.
Timberwolves.
My bad. They play the Timberwolves without Karl-Anthony Towns. Rudy Gobert barely played. He played,
Leaves the game mid-game.
yeah. They're down, to a couple of players, and the Cavs just seem like it just seems like they play down to the level of the team that they are playing. And they ended up they had a 15-point lead, completely blew it, and ended up losing the game by I think it was like 6 or 8 or 10,
8
something like
points.
that. The Cavs have this weird thing where when they're down by 20, they come back and somehow can pull out the win. They were down the entire Portland game all the way up until they took the lead with 5 minutes left. But they cannot hold on to a 15-point lead. And I don't know where the disconnect is. I don't know if they're riding so high from having these leads and then they just let it go. I don't know what's going on, but I really don't know who to blame. I'm not going to blame JB. I'm not going to blame the players. We'll call it. It's a learning thing, even though at this point it's not a learning thing anymore. But they got to get their stuff together because you cannot keep going into these games, getting these leads and blowing them. How many times this season have they had big leads and lost? How many times have they been down by forever and come back and win? It's extremely bizarre to me, and they need to figure out how to keep these leads.
So where I disagree with you with is I am going to put blame on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Because I believe, and I talked about this very early in the season, and it's starting to bother me. And not that I'm against your take, but just listening to you, I was fuming inside again, just thinking about the game. Just because again, that is a game where you are coming off a long 5-game road stand. You want to get back home. You have that game in control. It was a back and forth seesaw first half, and you took the lead. Third quarter, fourth quarter, they just come out flat again. And it's either 1A, they have a lead and they don't know how to hold on to it, or B, they're down by 10 and then create this comeback. So I don't know if it's a NBA thing where teams just stop playing or they're just coaching conservative, but it's like the Cavs go into this shell over and over and over again, where it just goes back to, again, isolation, standing around. We got this. We're the best team. We're the best defensive team in basketball. Yada, yada, yada. But if they got guys driving to the basket, there's nobody around them, nobody playing defense, guys walking around, and nobody's calling timeout, nobody's stepping up in leadership. Where is the growth of this team outside of Donovan Mitchell from last year to this year? Because at this point right now, the Cavs have the same exact record that they did at this point last year. I looked it up this morning. It's absolutely infuriating to me that this team can never, ever, ever, feels like, just play a complete, competent, good game of basketball. There's effort issues. There's bench issues. The reason why they're giving up at these leads, these guys are so dead because we never play the bench. We have at these guys. How many times we mentioned Robin Lopez? He's always DNP inactive. Ronaldo, DNP inactive again. It's like these guys are exhausting themselves because it takes them all game to get to this point, and then by the time they get to the fourth quarter, they're out of gas. It's
Yeah.
inexcusable. And to me, it's on JB.
You know what? I do have to agree with you. It is on JB. I mean, obviously, he's done a great job this season, but there's a lot of things that he does that I question. Why was Jetty inserted when they when the Wolves started to come back? That's a
Yes.
situation where you put in Lamar Stevens. You need
Lamar only played, I think, what, 8 minutes?
you need you need that energy off the bench. Lamar has been playing much better offense. He can get to,
Yes.
he gets to the rim. He can hit the three, but then he's a dog on defense. That's what we needed. But we put Jetty in, who he had like 4 points. I think he may have had a steal, but he wasn't giving us that
Boost, no.
dog mentality that we needed. And that's something JB does that just puzzles me. There's certain times in games where he'll insert a player and I'm going, why is he putting this guy in right in this situation?
I don't understand the rotation thing at all. Again, it
No.
feels like they don't have a set identity, that they don't have a set rotation. So it's like, hey, you know what? I haven't played Jetty that much. Hey, Jetty, come here. You get in the game. It's like it's a lack of understanding of the moment. And again, sometimes really good coaches. We've seen this in the NBA a lot with a lot of different teams. There are really good coaches out there that are really good coaching young players with no expectations. But now, in my opinion, this Cavs team has expectations. And yes, they are still young. But I'm sorry. Have these games, if it wasn't for Donovan Mitchell, I don't know where this team would be at right now, because it feels like Mitchell has been the catalyst of the team this year. Outside of a few games, obviously, when he hasn't played, it's been Darius Garland. But it feels like this team is not as buttoned up. They're not as focused. They're not as attentive to detail. The stats, you can say the stats all you want. Again, top 10 offense, top 10 defense, but it's a totality in spurts. There are times where they should be a lockdown fourth quarter defensive team, and they are, again, just letting guys drive wide open to the basket, not contesting shots, not getting back on defense. And that's a pride thing. And that is a coaching thing, because if you don't have your guys ready to go, if a team is not ready to play, they're going to reflect the effort that the coach sets. So I don't know, again, if it's practice schedule. I don't know if it's just lack of details, lack of consistency, but something has to change here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like you said, it's infuriating, and this is the reason that Mitchell, recently, the last couple of games, Mitchell he hasn't been there because he's had to carry the team for a couple of games. So his legs aren't there. Hopefully he's plus he had that illness as well. But hopefully he's back in order. And I will say this: the last couple of games, I have definitely noticed Evan Mobley on the floor. Mobley has seemed to be taking our criticism to heart,
Well,
and looks like he's playing a little. He's playing a little bit better, a little bit more aggressive. Definitely hitting his free throws. He did miss one the other night that I was
and I
infuriated with.
and I agree with you. However, I was shocked to see this morning because I wanted to look back and I wanted to look back at the Timberwolves box score. Do you know? And many NBA experts say that the plus minus stat is the tell-all stat
Mhm.
of the NBA. Evan Mobley on Saturday night when he was on the floor was a minus 24. Like, how is that possible? Again, obviously different lineups, but when Mobley is on the floor, a 7 foot, dare I say, unicorn, that can't happen. That almost seems. I don't know. It's something. I don't know if it's defense. I don't know if it's offense. We have said it all year. He's not impacting the game the way he should be throughout the game. But I looked at that and I needed to make sure minus 24. I mean,
Mhm.
if that was a Giannis, if that was a Luka or LeBron, a superstar, they'd be getting killed on national TV the next day.
Yeah. And one of the other things is I could tell you the reason because the superstar on the Timberwolves, Nas Reed, posterized our entire team at some point or another during the game. That's just the way it happened. I don't know when he turned into Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but he definitely came out ready to play,
You know what's
saying,
funny?
"What's that?"
We I'm sorry, but just to piggyback off your point, I want to. We talked about early in the season how the guys were really good at locking down the superstars players. Well, yeah, they are, but they're also really bad at letting guys like Jordan Clarkson and Nizan Reed and these other players just go off on them.
Yeah, I mean. That's exact, and I think that's one of the problems is you lock down a star, but then you're giving up, stupid amounts of points to players who are. I mean, look at when we played Dallas. Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker's played 6 minutes, maybe, other than when he
Yeah.
played the Cavs, and he put up, ridiculous numbers. I know Luca was out. We ended up with the victory, but it's just it's really really infuriating because you nailed it on the head. Why are we giving up so many just I can't even talk. Like I'm literally that point.
It's not what good basketball teams do. It again, like I don't think coaching necessarily is the end all be all in basketball because I do think that talent and then trumps coaching. But in the postseason, especially, you will see the best teams. Obviously, Miami, Boston, Golden State, Memphis, etc. They are teams with elite coaching, and like this is. I'm not advocating to fire JB Bickerstaff right now,
No.
but obviously before we started this podcast, he was already the head coach of the Caps. And I remember saying when I was on the air at that time, if you look at JB's history throughout his coaching career, he has been really good at coaching teams with no expectations. Now, granted, this is the most talented team he has ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in a little bit there, you're giving JB a little bit of a break. You're trying to obviously figure out what's best for this Cavs team. And nobody expected and saying that the Cavs were going to be for sure championship contenders this year. But they have made some boneheaded, just coaching mistakes that is just not very good for a good basketball team. And it makes you start to think that if we get into these close situations, because there's going to be a lot of close games in the postseason, and we all know that the Cavs don't execute well when there's pressure on them. We talked about this a little bit, obviously at the start of the year, how expectations are changing. Nobody had any expectations for this team last year until obviously February, and then it all fell apart. This year there were expectations going into the year, and I thought they handled it well early. Again, maybe it's just the grind of the NBA season, but when you have a team that's expected to compete, bottom line is you can't do this every single night. It is starting to question if JB cannot get this team to me past the first round of the postseason, then yes, it's time to look at job evaluation.
I can see that. One of the last things I want to talk about, Brandon, Ricky Rubio made his comeback, his triumphant comeback. We were very excited. We talked about it last episode. If you have not gone back, check out episode number 63.
63.
63 of All Things Cavs. We absolutely did a big show, over an hour long, talked about trades, but one of the very first things we talked about, Ricky Rubio coming back. I think that, only 2 games, very small sample size, but I'm very happy with Rubio. First game back, played 10 minutes, 9 points, 3 rebounds, or 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Second game, played roughly 10 minutes again, 3 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. We're gonna get out of Ricky. You're gonna get hustle. He's very crafty. Amazing court vision. He is a floor general. I want to see how he works with with Mitchell when both of those players are in there for an extended period of time. And I think if a trade was made for like a Malik Beasley or something like that, that would benefit Rubio as well as Malik Beasley. Because LeVert is, like I said, we know LeVert's better at creating his own shot, but Rubio is just, his court vision and his passing skills are absolutely off the chart. And his 3-point shot looks phenomenal.
Yes,
So
it does. And I will say he looks good in number 13. Last year he was number 3. It didn't dawn on me that Karis LeVert, who we traded him, obviously to Indiana, took his number 3. So Rubio had to get a new number. But we did get a tease, by the way, of that 3 guard lineup order with Rubio, Mitchell, and Garland. It wasn't extended a period of time, to be honest with you. It's kind of shocked they went to it, that early in Rubio's return. But again, I feel like that they needed it because they need some offensive scoring. I agree. I think you look good. I think you see flashes of him obviously getting back into basketball shape. I'm really interested to see again because JB talked about, early in the season, the plan was to have Garland and Mitchell on the court all at one time. I hope that changes now once Rubio obviously gets back into basketball shape. I think you need to let Rubio be the point guard. I think you need to let him lead the second unit. And maybe with Rubio back, maybe JB does play the bench a little bit more. Maybe that does allow him to play some more guys because you do have a true primary. We talked about it last week, pass first facilitating point guard in Rubio as your 6th man this year. And I do hope as well that it opens up just a little bit more pick and pop room for Love. Because there's been a lot of speculation, obviously, on Love's future. If the Cavs are entertaining him as he's had a down year. But Love's best play throughout his career, outside of the time that he was with LeBron in Cleveland, was with Rubio in Minnesota, and then here last year. I think those two have real chemistry. I think Rubio will find a way to get Love the basketball, and I think Love, if he can start making a couple more shots, him and Rubio combined, that is a huge, huge boost to the bench.
yeah, absolutely. Brandon, last week we previewed a bunch of games, including the Cavs and Pelicans, which takes place in roughly
2 hours.
1 hour 55 minutes as of right now. And we also previewed the Grizzlies. Now, my opinions may have changed on these games, but I'm going to roll with what I said last week. So if you guys, again, want to know our predictions for these 2 games, go and check out episode 63 of All Things Cavaliers. But we are going to preview the next 2 games after those 2. Like I said, again, today, Pelicans at 3:00. What a weird time, but it is MLK Day.
MLK Day.
And then you have 8:00 at Memphis. So that'll be, Ja plays. That's going to be a tough one. Also a big fan of Desmond Bain. And again, Dylan Brooks. You know,
John Moran had an unbelievable dunk that I wish Evan Mobley will do one day. I believe that was Friday night.
yeah. So and that's the thing. Like I said, if Ja plays, it's I think Cavs are probably going to lose that one. But we have the Warriors in Cleveland on Friday, January 20th at 7:30 at Rockets Morgan Fieldhouse. And then the very next night on January 21st, again at the Rock, we have the Milwaukee Bucks coming to town. We will preview one more just because we don't know when we're going to record
Okay.
next week. We have the New York Knicks on the
Who are red hot
24th
right now.
who are on fire. We got the Cavs going there. They will have a couple of days off before heading to New York. But Brandon, Warriors, Cavs, steps back in the lineup. What are you thinking?
I almost want to love this Milwaukee Golden State game together because I don't think that they're going to win both games. If they do, regardless of what the score is, I will come in here next week and jump for joy. I think it's going to be very hard to play the back-to-back NBA defending champions with again most of their talent on the roster. Obviously, Golden State and Milwaukee have struggled a little bit this year. A lot of it has to do with injuries. Curry is just getting back for Golden State. I wanted to, and I didn't get a chance to look it up. When's the last time the Cavs actually beat Golden State? Because I can't remember. It could have been the 2017 Game 4, I think it was maybe. I know we have not had a lot of success against Golden State. Curry has always been a Cavs killer. Regardless if Golden State has been a good, regardless if the Cavs have been good or not, Curry has just always dominated the Cavs. It feels like you got Milwaukee coming in. That game, one of these games is a must win. God, it's so tough because I want to say the Cavs. I really do want to say the Cavs get this win, but part of me says I think Curry has a late game surge. I think they knock the Cavs off late. I think the Cavs have a lead going into the fourth quarter, and I think Golden State has some sort of comeback where the Cavs let it go at the end. It's my honest opinion.
I unfortunately agree with you. I think that the Cavs just are historically bad against Golden State. I was hoping Curry was going to stay out a few more games until after they play the Cavs. But with Curry back, obviously they got Jordan Poole. Klay Thompson is actually starting to return to form a little bit, which is a little scary.
Mhm.
And a lot of the younger players are playing very good. So as much as I don't want to, we saw what Steph did to the Cavs earlier in the season. I say it's going to be very close, but I think the Warriors do pull away at the end, and the Cavs are going to take the loss. The next night, the Bucks at the Cavs. Brandon, I'm gonna agree with you here. You say they need to win one. I'm gonna say I don't think they're gonna win either. I'm taking Milwaukee. I think that the Cavs are just they're gonna be tired, and I know they're at home, but I think that it's gonna be a very emotional night from the loss the previous night, and you're gonna have arguably the best player on the planet next to Luca and
Yeah.
Jokic and Doncic and Embiid come in the form of Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it's going to be very very hard for the Cavs to take this win.
So the Cavs are trying to even up the season series against Milwaukee 2-2. Obviously, we watched both games in Milwaukee, won the game in Cleveland. I will say Milwaukee has dealt with a lot of injuries. Chris Middleton is hurt again. Giannis has been in and out of the lineup, and they have not looked the same since about the last time they beat the Cavs in Milwaukee. They are getting blown out a lot. They're very inconsistent. If they were not on a back to back with Golden State, I would pick the Cavs to win this game. As much as you know how much I love Milwaukee going into the season, I don't love them as much now. That could change, obviously by the time we reach the postseason. But I think again, very emotional game. I think Milwaukee's going to come out. There's a possibility the Cavs don't come out well, and they could get blown off the court here, or make another run in the fourth quarter. But yeah, I'm picking them to go 0-2. And by the way, while you were talking, I did look it up. the last time the Cavs beat Golden State, just in the regular season, was that magical Christmas Day game when
I was
Kyrie
good.
Irving hit the game winning
I
shot.
I was going to say, was it the Christmas Day game?
Yep. I
And
I couldn't remember if they beat them like when Golden State was down in that year or two
that
after obviously the championship run. But no. So Golden State has owned the Cavs. The Cavs' last victory, including the postseason, was that game 4 of the 2017 NBA Finals.
I
Um,
that honestly may have that was, I shouldn't say may have been, that was probably one of my favorite games that the Cavs have ever played. I thought that was such an
yes,
entertaining game.
especially in that time period as well. And
Exactly,
again,
during the rivalry.
So the Cavs have not beat Golden State in 7 years. Friday night, unless they meet in the finals, Friday night will be their last attempt to do so. And so that's the case again. I do think that they lose to Milwaukee, unfortunately. Though this Knicks game, the Knicks are hot. And the last time the Cavs went to New York, they really struggled. Donovan Mitchell struggled. The whole
They
team
did.
struggled. I don't remember. They might have put up 90 points, or at least barely got to 90. Knicks are hot right now. Especially if the Cavs lose to Memphis, they have to win this game against the Knicks, and it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be tough. It's absolutely going to be tough. Um, Even if you beat Memphis, if you lose back to back to Golden State and Milwaukee, you have to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere in here. This is a very tough schedule. The Knicks are probably the most likely for them to win. And again, they're playing red hot right now. Very scary, but just for the lack of please win, I'm going to pick the Cavs. But am I confident about it? Absolutely not. This is a scary stretch they're on right now.
So I am also picking the Cavs, but I'm picking it for a different reason. I think that they're gonna have a couple days off after the Milwaukee game, and whether those games are wins or losses, it doesn't matter to me. I think that, and for the same reason I picked them to win the first time, I'm going to pick them again this time, which is someone, Darius, Donovan, one of the players on the Cavs, if not more. They want the bright lights. They want that Madison Square Garden moment, that game that every star seems to have. So I think that they're going to go in there. Someone's going to have a ridiculously good game. I actually do not even expect it to be that close. I think the Cavs
Okay.
win by double digits. And Knicks are red hot, but the Cavs are a very good team. Just gotta figure it out for some things. A few tweaks here, a few tweaks there. Let's not put Chetty in when we need defense. Let's not put Okoro in when we need offense. So but I
I
think
I
I think the Cavs are gonna take it.
Yeah, well, I think episode number 65, our tone on that show will be based off of the Cavs too. If you include the Pelicans game today, which they should win because there's no Zion, and I don't think there's Brandon Ingram either for the Pelicans.
Which
This
means that just means Devontae Graham's gonna have
Graham's
40,
gonna go off.
46. Yeah.
Um, if our tone is going to be based off these next 6 games, because if they come out, dare I say, 2-4, potentially 1-5, yeah, it's not good. But I think 3-3 or better. You kind of feel good about yourself.
Yeah, you
Um,
do.
no expectations on margin of victory. I think obviously they should win today against the Pelicans. They are favored by 6.5 if you're into sports betting and all of that crazy stuff. I hope that the Cavs are going to be able to cover today. They should get that win, and then we are on a massive, what would that be? 4 games with Memphis, Golden State, Milwaukee, and the Knicks, where hopefully we split 2 there.
Yeah, I agree. Brandon, another one in the books. It's been we
Oh
both
man, we
have
just keep going and going. We can talk about these Cavs all day.
all day. I mean, we both very busy people, but never too busy to talk about our Cleveland Cavaliers. We make our predictions. We hope that the games we talk about that we're wrong. Maybe they're going to end up 6-0, Brandon. Who knows? But I do know one thing that needs to be known, and you know what it is.
And that's a little known